Okay, so we're going to look at frequency tables. So remember, we've got our univariate list. So we've got a list of data, and we're now going to display this data. That's what this topic's all about, is getting the data, and we're going to display it in different ways. And our first way we could, one of our ways we can display data is using a frequency table. So you count up how many times you see, so I might collect, say, your eye colour, and so I'm counting the frequency of blue eyes, yeah? So I might count that out. And then we often change our frequency tables. We often like to make them a percentage. So this is how you'll be using this a lot. So when you want to get a percentage, you always go, it's the amount over the total times 100. So say for that blue eye example, I'd say, all right, say it was this class, I've got like 20 in this class, say we had 3 blue eyes, we'd say 3 out of 20 times 100. That's how we change it to a percentage. So why do we use we might use a frequency table? Because we can quickly see, if I present the data, if I just showed you a list of everyone's eye colour, we're not going to be able to see anything. If I showed you a frequency table, you're quickly going to see which one's the most frequent, and that's a good way to display. So here we're going to go through one, and I'll show you. So 30 children. So this becomes pretty important, particularly next year. So just so you write, when you see 30 children which chose a sandwich, so you've surveyed 30 people. So just write total equals 30, just so it was there. That's how you found that out. Okay, and they either chose a salad, a sandwich, a salad, or a pie for lunch. So they want us to change this into a frequency table. So what you can do is you can go through the list and you can say, all right, I saw a sandwich, so I'm just going to go through it doing Roman numerals. So I worked out I have 7 sandwiches, I have 10 salads, and I've got 13 pies, and hopefully that added up to 30, which it did, so I'm correct there. Okay, so now when I want to change it to a percentage, what I'm going to do is say, well, this is 7 out of the 30 times 100, and I'll write the percentage. So you don't have to write how you work it out. I'm popping it in there so that you can see what we did. Yeah, so if I gave you that list without the frequency table, it's very hard to see what's most common and what's going on. So that's not a really good way of, presenting your data to someone. So this frequency table, though, I can quickly see that obviously pies were the most popular. So when we say most popular, we call that the mode, or they might say the modal category, because this is categories. So the modal category. So pie was the most popular, most common category. So this lunch choice, what type of data would we call that? I've already said it. It's categorical, isn't it? And is it nominal or ordinal? Nominal. Okay, just to help you out so you can practice doing that. All right, so you can see it's a good way. And I can also see that the other two, they're not too bad. It's not like one was totally unpopular. So you might say, they might look, we only have to present the data. We don't have to say what you do with it. But someone else might go, yeah, we'll keep going with this because there's a majority there. All right. Okay, so now we can display our categorical data. So like what we had before, another way to display it is in a bar chart. So you can see here, we've got a frequency table already done for us, and what they did here is they looked at a number of countries, and their climate. Number of countries, climate. So they said whether it was moderate, cold, or hot. So you can see in the here in the frequency table. So I can see that moderate was the modal, the most popular, so the modal. But we can see once we put it, if we do it in a bar chart, so you can see when we have a bar chart, we actually have the categories along the bottom. So here that you might have cold, moderate and hot. Now if it's a bar chart, you will see there'll be gaps in between these bits here. That's what makes a bar chart. You have gaps, okay? So you need gaps in between, okay? And a bar chart's obviously way better presentation of that data because I don't even have to really look much. I can quickly see, I don't looking through numbers, I can clearly see the dominant modal category there. So this was the modal category because it's standing, you know, well above everything. So they might call it the mode, they might call it modal. So just doesn't matter, category. All right. So they'll ask you to describe these bar charts, and all you have to do when you describe it is pretty much say what the modal category is or the dominant, but I'd rather use mode. Just say, all right, if I was describing this, I'd say, looking at the bar chart, the modal category was moderate climate with, I'd say 60.9% of the countries with a moderate climate. Then came a hot, the hot climate with 26% and the lowest being the cold climate on 13%. So when you are describing, make sure you use stats. You say the stats. So I said that the moderate was the most popular or the modal, and I quoted the stat. This is what they're looking for in Year 12. You have to quote it and the stat. We have gaps on our bar chart because later on in a while we're going to do a histogram. And what makes a histogram different is that it's all together. Okay? So a bar chart has to be separated. All right, so just have a look at the report they've given you down here. They said the climate of 23 countries were classified cold, moderate or hot. So they've written here the majority of countries. So you might say the modal category was moderate with 60.9. See how they're using a stat? And of the other remaining countries, and then they just went down in there. If you have a lot of categories, you don't need to quote all of them. Just say what the most popular one is with its stat. Yeah? So this is the dominant and it had this percentage or whatever. All right. So how to do a bar chart on your calculator. I'll show you now on the computer. And then we're going to